Welcome back. So we got the Yanmar out here today, and we also have the Flail Mower on because we have a HOA retention pond that needs to be cleaned up. So this pond measures approximately, 200 by 200. That is like the total area, right, that we're going to be mowing. The actual pond itself is a lot smaller than that. The actual pond itself is about 100 by 100-ish. So a good chunk of that is not going to be mowed, but we need to do all the surrounding area of it. So up here along this road, we need to go back approximately 25 feet or so. Basically, you can see the little tree right there at my finger. So we're going to mow all of that up to there. We need to mow down here, going down to the water. They didn't say to mow that, but we're going to mow that. And then we got to go do basically all the grassy area all the way around the perimeter. So I did make sure to ask the customer, president of the HOA, did make sure to ask him. I said, hey, since you're not going to be here and I'd rather not come back again, I was like, okay, would you rather me mow extra? Like, is there a downside to me going beyond where if it's like, okay, I think we should stop here, I'm gonna go an extra like pass or two, is there a downside to that? And he was like, hell no, that's all good with me. So easy way to make sure that you keep people happy and stuff is just to make sure that you are going to exceed expectations. So set high expectations and then make sure that you're going to go above and beyond that even. So I'm going to get this thing fired up and we're going to start ripping. So, man, I was so bummed I got here nice and early. This case drain line, I don't know what the heck happened to it, but I already had to go run out and buy a new fitting. Yeah, I have no idea. I could not get it to plug in for the life of me. It looked fine and everything else, but it was definitely not fine. So what are you gonna do? So like I said earlier, this is a US Mower EX40. So it has a 40-inch wide cut path. It weighs just under 800 pounds. It's got 36 knives under it and stuff, and they spin at about 2,000, 2,200 RPM or so. So that thing is really whipping around in there. So it allows it to cut through grass pretty well, and it also will cut all the way up to like a 2-inch diameter small tree or sapling, and it'll munch them up really good. Blackberries and stuff like that, obviously that's no big deal for this thing. It'll take care of it all. But it really comes in handy, that's for sure. And the skid steer mower is fantastic, love it, but the second you try to do anything different from like a field or something like that, it really kind of shows its downfall, I guess. Whereas this mower on the Excavator, you can reach it all over the place, you can swing it around and stuff, right? Like normally with a skid steer, if you want to mow, you have to pull forward, mow that strip, back up, turn a little bit, pull forward more, and mow that strip, right? And the whole time you're kind of turning and jockeying around. Well, that ends up tearing up the area and tearing up the grass or something like that a lot. Which, in this situation, where we need this to still look pretty nice once we're done, that's definitely not going to give us, a positive outcome. It's definitely not going to give us a 5-star review if we rip up all the grass and everything. So the Excavator mower, it allows you to reach a really large area because you can swing, 360 degrees with it, and you can mow a huge area, and you can basically just track, like one path in, and you don't have to keep spinning around and moving and stuff like that, and walking the tracks around, which tears everything up. So it's to me, in this situation, it's definitely slower. However, it's definitely, in my opinion, the right move because it's going to yield the right product. Like at the end, the customer is going to get what they were hoping to get, which is all this mowed and not torn up. Munching up like these little alders, so satisfying. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not quite like a masticating head, but very, very satisfying. Not gonna lie, it's a good time. And cutting through this grass right here is actually actually almost a challenge because it's like so thin and sparse, you know? It's like your grandpa's hair. Not a lot of it there. Just enough to say it needs attention, but that's about it. Sometimes I think if we would have got a 30-inch mower instead of this 40-inch mower, I sometimes think that may have been a little bit, or that would have been a little wiser decision. But a 30-inch mower doesn't really fit on an 80 size machine nearly as good. So, like, all right, this one, like, you know, at least with this mower, it can, you know, pull double duty essentially. It'll work on both machines, so that's what I'd rather. Versatility, you know? Oh, apparently the drone is done playing for now, so it's going and landing. I definitely think that the skid steer would have been faster to mow all of this, but I'm also a little nervous that, you know, if the grass is wet at all, some of these steep spots going into the pond, I'm worried that you're just gonna launch right down in there, you know? Because once that thing starts sliding, it's kind of tough to stop. And on top of that, when you have the mower on it, it is like, you can't self-recover at all. You know, at least with a bucket, right, you can kind of like push yourself back out, you know, you kind of look like a little bit of a window licker when you're trying to do it, but at least you have a chance, you know. With a mower on it, the mower is so heavy that it acts like an anchor, and obviously you can't push against the mower, you'll break it. I mean, ideally, I'd love to have just like both machines out here, and then, you know, it'll go way faster. I like to bid jobs instead of do, you know, just based on time. That way I can, you know, do what I want to do at the rate that I want to do it. That way I can stop and think, you know, and I'm not in such a hurry that I'll make a mistake, you know, or something like that. We're about halfway or so. We got, you know, all of this all the way around the backside, and we started coming up this way. So now what we have left is we have this, you know, I don't know, frontage strip right here that we got to go back about 20-25 feet. And then the next thing we have is up here. You can see the fence up there. There's like a split rail fence. So they asked if we could, you know, mow on our side, like on the pond side, that split rail fence. And he just said go like 2 passes. So I was originally planning on bringing out the skid steer. It's a 5-foot wide mower, 2 passes, about 10 feet. So I'm just gonna go like, I don't know, like a full swing, I guess. You know, but we gotta get through all these blackberries right here. I stopped and I turned around and tracked back out because remember how I said pay attention to which direction your mower throws things? So mine throws if you're sitting in a seat, throws everything out to the left. Well, if I would have come up this way, it would have thrown everything right into their yard. It's not a good way to get a good review. And then when I was would have gone down this way, it'd have thrown everything right at my truck. Again, not a good plan. So I'm gonna grease the mower. We're supposed to grease it like every few hours. And we're gonna go the other direction now. So that way, you know, everything gets thrown into the pond. We're not throwing it in someone's yard, and we're not throwing it out in the road. Just helps make everything a lot easier and stuff. The downside to the mowing is that it's a lot harder on equipment. Basically, you're running the machine, the hydraulic system, kind of as hard as it can be run. You know, it generates a lot of heat and it breaks down the hydraulic fluid a lot faster. So you actually have to do a lot more maintenance and stuff, and you have to change the fluid twice as frequently. So as opposed to changing it every 1,000 hours, you basically have to change it every 500 hours. Which, you know, it's not terrible, it's not the end of the world, you know, a few $100, $300-400 or so, it's not bad if you do it yourself. But it's definitely something to be aware of, that it's a lot more maintenance, that's for sure. The other thing you gotta do is you really have to, you know, pay attention to the blades and stuff like that, and not, you know, hit them against rocks and stuff because it'll dull things. And the blades, you know, a full set of knives on this full set of 36 is just shy of $600 if I remember right. And it's a solid day to replace them all. So you really don't want to be running this thing through the dirt. You know, you really got to try to take care of it as best you can. I mean, obviously, you know, shit happens and stuff, no big deal, but you just got to do the best you can. There you have it. Everything nice and mowed. So, didn't take too terribly long. Basically, about on par for what I was kind of thinking and stuff. So, now just need to grease up the mower and stuff like that, grease the machine so that she's all ready to rip for tomorrow. And otherwise, we're gonna load up and head out of here. So, overall, pretty happy with the progress and stuff. This hillside right here was definitely making my ass pucker a little bit and stuff, so, but we're able to get it handled. I was trying to keep the machine just going like straight along the side of the hill as opposed to like having to go down the hill, you know. Just takes a lot longer if you have to go nose down the hill and stuff every time, but otherwise pretty happy with it. All right guys, I'm gonna work on getting out of here and stuff, and catch you later.